Schmo, hello. We're gonna watch another Swamp Stories about a Vancouver gang war, and the one guy, I won't say his name, I guess, but I used to watch his sister's dog. I'd have to watch him because they'd go back and forth to Vancouver so often.
Yeah,
I wonder why though, right?
How much they were paying you?
Go. They'd pay me $40 to pick them up.
You should have charged them.
And then,
more.
they wanted to pay me more all the time.
Why didn't you do it?
I don't know.
Probably they would have asked you to sell shit for them.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But, okay, here we go. Yeah, you don't even want to get mixed up in them in that way. Yeah. I don't know. It's once you cross the line, then there's no return. But whatever, okay, let's go.
For this episode, we do something brand new. But before we get into the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. The Instagram page was deleted, but you can DM this new account to request videos, or you can send an email, whatever you choose. Also, I want to mention that this video is for educational purposes only. This is all history and public information. So let's get into it. So you might be wondering, how did we get here? Well, I was scrolling through the comments and noticed a couple requests. Do Canada, do Vancouver, and my first reaction was, wait, are you joking? Canada? Canada? Like, what am I gonna talk about? Maple syrup thieves? But then I thought to myself, maybe I should look into it. So I did my research, and wow, this one is interesting. And how come I've never heard about it? The answer is pretty simple. We have so much going on here, we tend to forget about our neighbors up north. We often assume that there's no problems up there, like it's some sort of unique paradise where everyone gets along perfectly. But that's just because we never hear about them. But in this video, you'll get to see a side of Canada that you never thought you would see. Before we dive into all that, let me paint the picture of Canada for you. Instead of states, Canada has 12 provinces, which are essentially the same thing. In this video, we will focus on Canada's westernmost province called British Columbia, also known as BC. In the bottom of BC, located right off the US border, is Vancouver. Technically, Vancouver was founded in 1886 by the British, but let me show love to the original residents. The Squamish tribe lived in the Vancouver area for thousands of years. Then the British discovered gold on the Fraser River, and we all know how this story goes. Over 100,000 British people began living in the area, now home to 600,000.
Do you know how much the native people they sold Manhattan for?
Like $100?
Bro, just $25. Bro, I was like.
But no. That's what they did. They didn't like kill everybody and steal their land. Yeah. They sold it, but I mean, it was just baloney.
Yeah.
You know,
bro.
like.
1,000 residents.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, but it's like I said, lawyers and stuff. They're just evil. It's like you sign a document. Like, they just tricked them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
bro.
like, it shouldn't...
They got tricked.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Vancouver is known as a very wealthy, quiet city. It was actually ranked as one of the world's most livable cities. So overall, Vancouver is pretty nice. Aside from the 192 rainy days per year, yep, that's over half the year. So bring your umbrella or else you're gonna get drenched. And speaking of drenched, Vancouver has another side to it. And the statistics are nothing to laugh at. Let me list off some cities: San Francisco, New York City, San Diego, and Austin, Texas. Why do I bring up these American cities, you may be wondering? Well, Vancouver, Canada has a higher homicide rate than all of these cities. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's the truth. But things operate differently in Vancouver. Everything that happens has a reason, and you'll see why. It all works from the top to the bottom, with the bosses at the top making sure they can handle their business. Pretty much like the old school Italians. So let me introduce you to the Don Corleones of Vancouver, Canada. But before we get into it, let me run the intro. Psych! Let me introduce you to the Independent Soldiers, also known as the IS. They originally formed in the Sunset neighborhood of South Vancouver. Initially, they called themselves the Sunset Boys. They were mostly made up of Punjabis. For those who don't know, they originate in a northern region of India called Punjab, and they moved to Vancouver in the 1960s. They now make up nearly 10% of Vancouver's population. Well anyways, by 1992, they would begin calling themselves the IS to show independence from other organizations in Vancouver. Together, the IS had one goal: profit, and they were going to do whatever it took to get rich. They had three main leaders: Manjeet, also known as Peter, Amarjeet, and Gorinder. Forgive me if I messed that up, I don't mean to. But these leaders made strong rules that were not to be messed with. First rule is zero tolerance for any use of substances. Zero. The second rule is talking to officers. Any IS affiliate or member is strongly prohibited from ever speaking to the law under any circumstances. And lastly, you are never allowed to disrespect your associates. A violation of any of these rules is going to result in termination, or even worse, you will end up in the Pacific Ocean swimming with the fishes. There's a reason for these strict rules. Leaders see these rules as key to success in the underground, and in the early 1990s, this was absolutely true. The IS were making bank, and their main source of income was, let's say they were pharmacists. Really good pharmacists. The IS were expert pharmacists, but just like everyone says, more money, more problems. When more money is coming in, jealousy follows. Always, no matter what. In 1994, Internal Affairs would break up South Vancouver. Within the next 2 years, all three IS leaders would pass away. Many would speculate that this was caused by their internal affair with the elite faction of the IS. But just like any organization, new leaders would step up and take their places. The internal affairs were somehow resolved, and it was back to business as usual. But that's when competition came along in Vancouver. The IS were no longer the only factors. Let me not get ahead of myself. I'll explain it like this. Everything came down to the Dosanjh brothers, Ron and Jimmy Dosanjh. They were the leaders of the IS in all their subgroups. They had a young superstar named Bindi Johal. He made a name for himself as a teenager for bad behavior and was expelled from many high schools. Despite this, he was extremely popular. Everyone looked up to him. Maybe for his personality, but most likely for his money and swagger. Bindi Johal was known for making money, plain and simple. He really caught the attention of the Dosanjh brothers, and they would bring him in to work under their wing. Bindi was known to bring in $70,000 to $90,000 per week while working for them. But when Jimmy Dosanjh would go to jail, Bindi saw a golden opportunity. He realized that on his own, he could make way more money. He didn't feel like he needed the protection anymore. So Bindi Johal would do exactly that. But first, he would make sure that there were no problems with IS. Because remember, as long as you don't disrespect them, you don't violate the rules. And so for the time being, everything would be okay between Bindi and the Dosanjh brothers. So let's head to the mid-90s. Bindi Johal began making $500,000 to $900,000 per week on his own. Now let me grab the calculator. That's between $26 million and $47 million per year. This dude, Bindi Johal, was balling. He was making Steph Curry money. But wait, let me put this into perspective. In 1995, Shaquille O'Neal's salary was $5.7 million. So Bindi Johal was balling more than any NBA player. He was swagged out too. Bindi was really dripped out. Look at the dude. And along with the money, Bindi loved attention. He wanted to be a celebrity, so he would constantly go to the club in brand new supercars with tons of cash. And this new lavish persona may have started a problem. When Jimmy Dosanjh would be released, he was not pleased with who Bindi had become. Now look, who am I to say anything? But maybe he was jealous, but maybe Bindi had just taken his clients. Or maybe Bindi was violating the rules of respect. Who knows? But either way, the Dosanjh brothers would declare Bindi Johal as their main enemy. So Bindi Johal would become associates with the Buttar family. And this is when Vancouver would get crazy. Welcome to 1994. The Dosanjh brothers were not playing. They would drop a bag, $230,000 to be exact. They could no longer tolerate Bindi Johal. But this brought no fear to Bindi, and he would get in touch with the man that they hired, and oh my god, this is amazing. Check this out. He would have a meeting with the man that the Dosanjh brothers hired. The simple fact that he knew who it was tells me that some IS members were relaying him information behind the Dosanjh brothers' back. Anyways, listen to this. He would meet with the man and offer him $460,000 cash. He would tell him to turn on Jimmy Dosanjh, and let me tell you, money talks, straight up. February 25th, 1994.
Oh, so
Bam!
sorry.
Oh shit.
Don has been
One of the balls
So-
got hit.
So no. So what he was just saying, I guess, is that Bindi paid one of their top guys to turn on them. He paid him $500,000 to turn on
the
them.
IS group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw, I'll rewind it a little bit.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Check this out. He would have a meeting with the man that the Dosanjh brothers hired. The simple fact that he knew who it was tells me that some IS
He had a meeting with the guy they hired to kill him. That's what it was, and he was paid $230,000 to kill Bindi, and then Bindi said, "I'll give you $460," so he doubled it to kill one of them. Oh, smart.
members were relaying him information behind the Dosanjh brothers' back. Anyways, listen to this. He would meet with the man and offer him $460,000 cash. He would tell him to turn on Jimmy Dosanjh, and let me tell you, money talks, straight up. February 25th, 1994. Bam!
Don has been
Remember how I said Bindi loves fame and wants to be a celebrity? Well, directly after this incident, Bindi would violate basically every rule in the book. He would go on national television and do an interview where he would make fun of Jimmy Dosanjh.
That, I mean, I guess he was a very serious person. From what I've seen of him on the street, I personally think he couldn't have hit his way out of a paper bag.
And this move right here would get Ron Dosanjh to do something super uncharacteristic. He would go on national TV and threaten Bindi Johal.
Bindi, I'm here and I'm bad mouthing you, buddy. Okay? If you want to talk about nobody, if anybody's a nobody, buddy, maybe that's why your life is worth a loony on the streets today. I wouldn't in the back, but they'd do it right face to face, square in the forehead.
2 weeks later,
Yeah, and imagine if they had fucking the internet back then and they could, Twitter wars and shit. Fuck, that would have been wicked, eh?
Yeah, man.
But these guys died quick.
And we would have went back and look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like King Von, all that shit. Yeah, that would be cool.
Ron Dosanjh would be at a stoplight on Kingsway Street in
So it's
Vancouver.
nice they have these
Bam.
on TV to do that. So we have, but that, and it's what I say to people. It's like, why not leave a lot of stuff of you when it's the first time, first generation that could actually leave videos of themselves to their future people 1,000 years from now will be able to see.
It should be like
the
a
guy.
diary, bro.
Pardon?
It should be like a diary, like a public
Yeah,
diary.
exactly. Yeah. But what was I gonna say? At least we're doing it.
And who's this naked?
But
man,
see,
man?
because I guarantee you, not just it's not just us. Like I guarantee you, like his descendants, man, they would have loved to see a bunch more videos of him
Exactly.
talking and
Yeah. They could have bragged to their classmates. Look,
Yeah.
this is my
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was gonna see one other. I can't remember.
So after this incident, an investigation of Bindi Johal would begin. So in response,
I guess you can do that if you want to.
he would go into hiding in a remote area of British Columbia. So he had a dog, right? And for some reason, he didn't want to bring it along. So he would kindly ask his neighbor Glenn Olson to take care of his dog while he was gone. Glenn Olson would agree. April 24th, 1994. Glenn Olson would be walking Bindi's dog through the neighborhood, but that's when a car pulls up, and bang!
What a dick for even doing that.
This incident was a huge deal in Canada, for the simple fact that Greg Olson
Yeah, Yeah, it was the only reason it was a huge deal, and the only reason any gangland anywhere in the world is a huge deal of murder is because they shot an innocent person.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the only time they care.
Damn.
Wilson was a regular guy just walking a dog, but it showed Vancouver residents one important thing. These guys do not care who you are. Regardless of this, Bindi would return to Vancouver and he would do another interview.
You got another thing coming? I'm still around.
But at this point, Vancouver decided that enough was enough. They would launch a $1 million operation to take down Bindi and the Buttar family. Success. In just a few weeks, they would catch everyone. They would release everyone on bail except for Bindi. And this right here was the biggest mistake.
And it's like, even if they, killed an innocent person, if you can't throw them in jail, it's like, why wouldn't you want them to just kind of stay on the streets and kill each other? Then you don't gotta waste your time throwing them in jail. And then when the one person is left, then you throw that guy in jail. That's what they do.
But the last guy who's left, he's gonna recruit another gang members for him.
Oh,
That's
it'll
gonna
never
take
end.
over.
It'll
It's
never
never
end.
gonna end.
It'll never end. And as long as there's jealousy and shit, it'll never end.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing with drug dealers. It's funny. It's like, you know, you think if you have 500 million, you know, you're happy. But it's like, oh, they'll still fight over a female. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like I just don't get it. You know, like,
Yeah, bro.
but probably because I've seen like you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
slept in a drop-in center before. I know what it's like, and that's why I know if I had money like that, I'd never throw it away over a female
Yeah.
or, oh, this guy's got a nicer chain than me, so I got to buy a nicer one.
It's stupid.
That's how they say, like, it's like 90% of NFL players go bankrupt or whatever, or go broke.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why, because they get a big check or whatever, sign on, and the first thing they do is buy some jewelry, and the first thing they see is someone's got bigger jewelry than them, and they might not even have that big of a contract,
Yeah.
and then they got to get a bigger piece, and then that guy gets a bigger piece, and then you get a diamond. That, like, you know what I mean? Whether it's real or not, it don't even... oh, man. And then, you know, they'll get injured, and then fucking they'll have nothing.
Yeah, bro.
That's what happens.
And the most riskiest sport in the world is.
It is.
NFL.
It is.
Fuck.
It's like a 4-year average career.
Really?
Yeah, before you get in, because of all the injuries.
Fuck.
Because there's so many injuries. What they don't show you on TV, like if you go to an NFL game, I guess, is like the special teams, right? And every time they kick off the ball, you know, and they return it and all that stuff, there's like multiple injuries, like every time that happens in the NFL. That's why they don't put their real players out there. That's why they have that special team, because they know by it's.
Whoa.
They're yeah, no, for real, yeah.
It's like
Special team is just
suicide.
exactly, yeah.
Why the fuck would you even play that? Fuck.
Because they want to make NFL and they want to be remembered, even though no one will.
And I heard the NFL is the CFL is way better than NFL.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't
bro.
like CFL.
Stampede used to go hard than most of the guys in NFL, bro.
The CFL and especially the Cups. What is it? The Grey Cup. It's like it's almost like every time I watch it, the team that wins is the one that made fewer mistakes, because it's like all game. It's like they just.
And it's all predicted too.
And every time I've gone to a game, it sucked because it was so fucking cold.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. You ever go to a game?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
Yeah, you gotta go to a
St.
game.
Peters were playing with I don't know whose team was it, but my homies were going there and they asked me. I said no. That
Yeah.
shit's gonna be cold. It's
Cold,
outside,
man.
bro.
It sucks. Yeah, no. And but like in Saskatchewan, I don't know. The whole province loves that team because it's all they got.
Yeah, bro.
Mistake possible. One of the men released was named Peter Gill, a handsome man. So they say. Not me. I didn't say that. But I mean, I'm just repeating. I'm repeating. Never mind. Well, one of the women on the jury would agree that Peter was quite handsome. Her name is Jillian Getz, and during the trial, her and Peter would make eye contact and smile at each other. And one day after court, Peter would ask her on a date, and yep, they would go on a date together. That took place at Peter's house, and it's safe to say that Peter did his Dougie. Interestingly enough, 3 months later, Peter along with Bindi would be found not guilty by the